Welcome to Before You Were Born, episode 10.
It's a special one, man. The big 10.
It's huge. We're in double digits. You know, we just cut the cake and there's 2 candles, not 1. So it means it's doubly special.
Do you remember your 10th birthday?
No, I think it was miserable though. Because I was like,
dead set. Me too, actually.
No longer single digits. I'm old now.
That wasn't the reason mine was miserable.
Why was yours miserable?
Because some quote-unquote family friend, for those of you at home, I'm doing the big old air quotes, right? Some quote-unquote family friend brought their kid along to my cake-cutting ceremony.
Oh, God.
And guess who blew out the candles on my birthday cake?
Not you.
Not me. Not me. And guess who didn't eat their own birthday cake?
Not you?
Not me. Well, me, rather me. I didn't eat my birthday cake. I was too upset. I was too upset.
So, look, 10 is not good for everyone, but it's good for us right now. Because this is the 10th episode, and it's huge. Because we've just hit the beginning of May. It's the 1st to the 7th of May. It's a new month, a new beginning. Well, no, it's the same old before you were born.
It's the same old before you were born. And this week, Harry, what are you exploring?
I'm exploring something that I'm not sure if we can explore or not explore, because I don't know if it exists. And that's the Loch Ness Monster. The first sighting happened on the 2nd of May, 1933. And I'm going to go a bit into who is Loch Ness. And what is this monster that we speak of? Nash, what are you speaking about? Yeah, sorry, you go. You go. I'm listening.
I love the conception of this show is that we're going to make sure it's accurate and historically, valid.
Yeah.
And here we are, the 10th episode, throwing that all to the wayside. Well, I've actually got something for you here, the antidote to conspiracies like Nessie. But no one can deny that did happen. Someone did see Nessie on that, or they thought they saw Nessie on that day.
We'll get into it.
This week, I'm exploring the origins of GPS.
You mean like global positioning system?
Yeah, that's right.
Do you mean, I'm just really confused. It was made, now we use it, it speaks to me sometimes.
Yeah.
What more do we need to know?
Well, you need to know that its development and its use and its widespread ubiquity are just really interesting and also crucial to the sustainment of modern life. The fact that we're able to even make it here today, I was lost earlier, the fact that we're even able to make it here today, and especially on time, and that's going to be important later, is largely due to the technology found in GPS.
All right, so just to clarify.
Yeah.
If you want to be completely dumbfounded by conspiracies that may or may not have happened, listen. If you want to hear hard facts about things that debunk conspiracies, listen.
We got it all, man.
We're a buffet.
We got it all, man. That's his 10th birthday. Here we go. Harry, let's go back to a time before you were born. And, oh, crap.
Cue the intro.
Oh, dear.
I have a dream.
Good evening and welcome to television.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Let's go back to a time before you were born. So let's head to 1933. It's a big year in the world.
Yeah, big year in history. Well, big time. I mean, you've got a lot of turmoil going on. It's post-World War I.
Yep.
Europe's putting itself back together. Some nations are doing better than others. Germany's not doing so good, but they're about to become a great big problem for the rest of the world, aren't they?
Yeah, and of course, Benito Mussolini, who we spoke about a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, indeed. He's rising to power.
He's getting in there.
That fascism is working for him very well.
It is, but no event is bigger than what happens in Scotland.
In Scotland?
In 1933, and it's not the Commonwealth Games. Hell, it's not even. Like that one? It's not even the Commonwealth Games.
No one's ever called the Commonwealth Games a big deal. No one. Remember them desperately trying to sell tickets in Melbourne, back in 2008 or whatever it was?
Grandma really likes it.
Oh, man. Come on down the lawn, Bowster.
Okay, fine.
Sorry, we totally digressed there. So big things happening in 1933 in Scotland. What is it, Harry?
May 2nd. A monster is found. Not even a monster, but a assumed dinosaur is found in Scotland.
Right.
And where is this monster found?
I'm going to say Loch Ness.
Loch Ness, that's right. In the Loch Ness in Scotland, there is the first documented sighting of the lovely beast that we now know as Nessie, or the Loch Ness Monster.
Right, okay. Now, I'd like to know a little bit more about this sighting. Is this one of those things where some guys, they just get a bit drunk and they go out to the loch and they're like, you know what? Things are pretty quiet around here. Why don't we drum up some some ruckus, some noise. Because
Well,
I'm going to state my claim here first. I don't believe in the Loch Ness Monster. I think it's garbage, right? I think it's not real.
let me educate you
Okay.
about why it's real. Let me educate you.
Harry just brings out his
about-
newspaper clippings from the 1930s. Boom. All right.
Dictionary worth.
Okay, so tell me a bit about it, mate.
April 1933, people start spotting it. And yeah, you're right. They may have been inebriated. They
Yeah.
may have been a bit intoxicated
Yeah.
with Martin Garrix. But it makes the papers. May 2nd, the first headlines come out.
Yeah.
Loch Ness Monster sighted. That's when you know it's real news. That's when you know that it's actually happened. Because if newspapers are saying it, then it's got to be correct.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because like at that point in time in the early 20th century, you didn't have the internet. You only had institutionalized one-to-many platforms of like media and communication, right? So if they said it was true, like, you know, you had to believe them. So
And you know
Yeah.
what? People did.
yeah.
Flocks of people, not just from Scotland, but from around the areas, started going to Loch Ness.
Sorry, was this with a photo as well? This is just a reporting sighting.
Just a reported sighting,
Oh
not
my
even a photo. Just a headline, Loch Ness Monster spotted or sighting, something like that.
That's ridiculous.
I know, and people are flocking there. It's great for the tourism of Scotland. Not great for, you know, rationalism and reality.
Okay, so there's people coming and they don't have a photo. When do we get the photo? Because we all know about that, you know, the Loch Ness photo, right?
Not even close to it. We've still got a good year, right?
Oh, so 12 months away. Okay.
12 months away. But we
Right.
do meet someone in that time, and his name is Marmaduke Wetherell. And who is he? He's a man hired by the newspapers to investigate the Loch Ness Monster, right? He's a
Okay.
professional headhunter of animals.
And let me guess, he finds evidence of the Loch Ness Monster.
That he does. He finds the
Wow,
paw
what a
print of
coincidence.
Loch Ness. After searching for, quite a bit of time, he finds a paw print. That paw print is definitive proof that there is a Loch Ness Monster. So he sends it to the British Museum. British Museum, they're ecstatic. They're like, Loch Ness's footprint. Wait a minute. This
Yeah.
looks like, oh no, this is not good. This is a hippopotamus's footprint. He orchestrates this hoax, right? He pretends that it's Loch Ness's
Yeah.
footprint. It's
Yeah.
not. It's a hippopotamus.
Yep.
No definitive proof of Loch Ness.
So he's ousted as a fraud.
Yeah, he's outside of fraud, so people just want him to go away now.
So, but this is still before the photograph, right?
This is still before the photograph. Then enters to the scene Colonel Robert Wilson,
Okay.
who's a British surgeon, and he takes a picture of Loch Ness in 1934, and this is the first real proof. This is real proof
Yeah.
that there is a Loch Ness monster. There's photographic evidence
Right. Okay.
of it.
So this doctor, someone who, is sworn an oath to serve and protect people and to improve their lives, someone who you would hold in high esteem,
You would.
took this
So
photo.
high esteem that he refuses to even put his name on it because he's like, you know what, this is for the people.
Oh, he.
This is not mine. This is for the people. So
No,
I'm just
he knew it was coming.
That's possible. It's very possible. But it's called the surgeon's photograph because he, the surgeon, takes it, doesn't want
Okay.
his name on it.
Okay.
So this is definitive proof. So over the next, 50, 60 years, they investigate. They send squads of people to see the depths of Loch Ness to see if they can find it using, different technology and
Like radar, sonar.
everything. I saw a video in 1980. They're like, in 2 years we'll have definitive proof whether or not there's a Loch Ness monster. Didn't happen. There's no definitive proof. The photograph is by far the best example of the Loch Ness.
Well, what does that tell you? That's give it up. That's ridiculous. You know what this is? All these people, these tourists, all these explorers, all these quote-unquote scientists who are exploring Loch Ness to find evidence of the monster, they all suffer from confirmation bias. I know I've had it before. I've gone around, assuming that I am pretty great, and I just look for evidence that I am great. You know what I mean?
So maybe just explain what is confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias is the idea that you have a preconceived notion of something. You already believe something, and you look around for evidence that supports that, whether it be pseudo-evidence or not. So say, for example, if I was to say that, I'm the tallest podcaster in this room, right? I come in believing that I'm the tallest podcaster in this room, which I'm definitely not. But I notice that I'm currently, my seat's a little bit higher than yours.
I'm wearing high shoes.
Yeah, I'm
all
wearing
these
big
things.
shoes. Maybe I
think
am
it's
the
as-
highest.
I think it's the same as lice. Someone has lice and you're like, oh, I've definitely got lice then because someone has lice. So everyone's just itching their head
No, I do have lice.
all the time.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, but confirmation bias.
It is a bit of that.
Yeah.
It very much is that.
Yeah.
People see the photo, they see, a fin in the water maybe or something like that, and they're like, you know what, there's got to be a Loch Ness monster. Then we head to 1994. So this is 60 years after the photograph, right? Enter a third man. So we've got Marmaduke, who was the first investigator.
Yeah.
We've got the surgeon,
Yeah.
Wilson, who was the guy who took the photo.
And then we have the third
The
stooge.
third guy, who I'm pretty sure is the stepson of Wilson,
Oh, okay. Right.
Christian Sperling. Now,
Right.
who is he? Doesn't really matter. But on his deathbed at the age of 90,
Yeah.
he makes a confession. And it's a big confession because it changes the story
The historical reading of this
of Loch Ness.
proof. Okay.
Which, of course, as we said before, is one of the biggest events to happen in 1933. It's huge. He goes and he says this. The photo, it was a fake. I know this is hard to stomach, but the entire thing was orchestrated. Me, mate Marmaduke, and of course, Colonel Wilson, just dressed up a toy submarine with the head of a serpent. So it looked like a serpent floating in the lake. It's all fake. Anticlimactic, isn't it?
Well, I
No
mean, look,
Loch
I hate
Ness
to
photo.
say I told you so, but
Yeah. So you'd think at this point people would stop believing in these type of stories, right? People would stop believing in Loch Ness. They'd stop believing in these type of things.
you'd hope that, like, with this massive sort of elucidation of the truth, that confirmation bias wouldn't still be a thing. But no,
The only evidence
yeah.
of Loch Ness is this photo, right? And a bunch of like confirmation bias things like, oh yeah, I saw movement in the water, whatever.
Never mind the fish that are in there.
Yeah. But yeah, you'd think that would. People still believe it. And,
Yeah,
it,
of
and it
course.
got me thinking, what are other ridiculous things
That people believe.
that people believe? And one of them, one of the biggest ones, literally, would be Bigfoot. You know Bigfoot, you know, the hairy ape-like creature.
People actually believe in Bigfoot?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Yeti, it's a Sasquatch, it's a Bigfoot. It's something that roams the forest, that has a lot of hair, looks like an ape, but is giant in stature.
Right.
And there have been sightings of Bigfoot. 1951,
Yeah.
Bigfoot's paw print sighted in the Himalayas.
Sounds a bit like a Marmaduke situation. Was he the one who cited it?
No, it wasn't.
No?
It was someone else. Marmaduke is long gone by then.
Okay.
But, you know, it was sighted, never disproved.
Yeah, right. What?
As in, how can you really say that it's anything else? It was found in the snow. So really, you can orchestrate whatever type of footprint you want in the snow.
My God.
Bit hard to believe, but then there's real evidence, and this is better evidence than our 1934 surgeon's photograph. It is a 1967 film footage
Of
right?
the Bigfoot walking
of the
along.
Bigfoot found in
So the
northern
one where he's like
California.
strutting and he looks back over at the camera operator.
Yeah, it's filmed by Patterson and Gimlin in 1967, right?
Yeah.
Spotted again in 2000 in California, yet again
Really?
by Jim Mills, right? So this is 3 spottings of the Bigfoot, and there's many more. How can that not be true? Well, I don't know. Surely someone would have spotted by now. Surely if there was one, it'd be dead.
I mean, like, this is a thing about truth. Like, we're about to enter the first sort of epistemological rut here in the podcast. But if you talk about the nature of truth, nothing can be 100% true, right? Something can only be nominally true.
But things
until
can be
it's
very
proven
false.
Yeah, but things can be very false. I mean, this seems like a leap over the probabilities. Like,
Yeah.
you have to believe a whole bunch of other stuff that is more likely did not happen in order for these ridiculous notions to be true.
Yeah, but let's for a second suspend our disbelief. let's pretend
Let's enter the mindset of little Jimmy who saw Bigfoot.
who saw him
All
to
right.
something a bit closer to home.
Oh, okay.
What about black panthers? Ever seen them roaming around your streets, perhaps?
I can't say I have, no.
So black panthers, of course, are found in Asia,
Yeah.
found in Africa,
Yeah.
and of course found in the Americas.
But they're not found in Australia?
Not found in Australia, and yet in the Central Coast near the Arimba State Forest, there lives a black panther. I'm not talking about the superhero. I'm talking about a real big cat, right?
Really?
Spotted in 2006. There was heaps of spottings. Then it goes quiet for a bit, about 9 years. It lays low, I don't know, feeds on dingoes, whatever. And then 2015,
There's another sighting.
they send someone into the forest
okay.
to find him, an expert on feral cats, right?
Yeah,
They
right.
send him in and he spots this black panther,
Yeah.
right? Therefore, definitive proof.
Oh, come on. That's not proof. That's not proof.
It's the same as Bigfoot,
That
really.
is not proof.
It's a big
You know,
cat.
on the way here, Harry, I saw a pink elephant walking down the street.
Really?
I saw it as proof for you. There you go.
I just don't understand why people think that you take photos of things and suddenly it's created a new creature. No, that's just a big cat. Bigfoot is a hairy human. I'm sorry, but like, I think case closed on all these. I'm banging
Yeah,
the gavel.
It's all over, mate. It's all over, Red Rover. But, you know, an interesting story nonetheless, and into this idea that we can sort of persuade ourselves of this mass delusion that things exist, but they don't really exist. It's interesting. It's interesting.
It is interesting. And if you have any of these ridiculous new animal sightings, and maybe, you did see a pink elephant down the road in Circular Quay.
I did.
Let us know on Facebook, Harry and Nash. You can just type it into the search thing. You'll find us. Let us know, because we want to know about these things. Are there more of these? Yeah,
we'll be sending some men with some very nice men with a jacket for you and be in a nice, safe, padded room.
It'll be nice and wide.
It'll be nice and wide.
Now, Nash, you've got to put us onto a good course.
Yeah,
because we've skewed off the map. We've not listened to the directions, and we've completely gone astray into the world of mythical beasts. Essentially.
Yeah, I feel like
how are you going to get us back on the right route?
We're getting a little too close to InfoWars here, but we're going to debunk some conspiracies, all right?
Let's do it.
We're going to debunk one of the biggest ones. I can't believe this is actually legit, but there are people out there in 2017 who believe that the Earth is flat.
That's fair.
Well, you might be reconsidering that after you hear the segment on GPS coming up right after this. Welcome back to Before You Were Born. Harry Nash with you here. Harry just gave us a wonderful account of something oh so fake. But it had me believing for a little bit there. Oh, I sound so cynical, don't I?
You do, because I think it's truthful. Unless you think what you're going to talk about is more truthful than what
It's my truth. Well, here's my truth, Harry. This is my objective truth. I like to call it GPS, Global Positioning System. Of course, you've heard of the GPS, right?
I have. Doesn't mean it's true. Heard of Santa.
You know what you're sounding a lot like? You're sounding a lot like these people out there who sort of beg a belief that I can't believe it. There's people out there who still think in 2017 that the world is flat.
See, we did discuss this just before, and, and it's kind of understandable though, because rationally, when you look out into the ocean, do you see it being round? No, you just see it like a cutoff and an end. I don't see when I look out across the ocean, I don't see South America as I look over, Coogee Beach.
What? Okay. No, you. I just got triggered. Well, hopefully by the end of this segment, we'll fine tune everybody's rationality a little bit more. It's the Global Positioning System, which of course was made available to the public in its full, unmitigated form back on May 2nd in 2000.
That's not that long that we've had GPS. Only 17 years.
Well, yeah, in its sort of full, sort of unfettered access way, and also it's after we were born. Yes, I know. I see that's where you're going.
No, I also have another question.
Oh yeah, okay.
So you're telling me that we only knew the world was round 17 years ago? Is that what you're saying? Because that's kind of like how you put the background to what you're going to speak about. This is how you set it up.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay,
no,
good.
We've known the Earth was round for such a long, long time.
I'm glad. I thought this was something that was quite new to you, so I'm glad that we're on the same page now. It's 63 for those reading at home.
What's new for me is that I realize that the Earth doesn't revolve around me, but it is round. Okay,
yeah,
that's the thing. So, man, that's actually a good point. Anyway, so 2000, May 2nd, 2000. The story goes back a long way before then, right? A long, long way before. We can trace the origins of GPS way back to 1957.
Okay.
When the Soviet Union launched the very first man-made satellite into orbit.
Sputnik.
Yeah, that's right. Sputnik 1. Well done.
Sputnik.
Sputnik.
What other Russian satellite is there?
Well, there's quite a few, but that's the most famous one that's out there.
Details.
So, of course, Sputnik 1 was the first man-made satellite launched on October 4th, 1957. It was about 58 centimeters in diameter. It's sort of this metal sphere. And contrary to what you might expect, the Russians wanted people to find it. They wanted people to discover it and know that it was out there, because this sort of sparked the space race. This was a big middle finger to the US, because people didn't believe that it's actually possible to get stuff out into space, right, to get into orbit. So the Russians were like, no, we've definitely done it, and here's how, because, well, I'm sure you've heard this sound. Yeah, so that was the sound that was coming from Sputnik 1. And it was actually captured and recorded by American physicists from the Applied Physics Laboratory at Johns Hopkins University, right? Two guys called William Gower, I think, and George Welfenbach. Oh, man.
Yeah, Welfenbach.
Welfenbach, why
Well
not?
known. Well
Anyway, so these guys, they were able to track Sputnik 1, right? They were able to track Sputnik 1 from the signal that was being sent out, and through something called the Doppler Effect. Okay.
Oh, I've heard of the
You heard
Doppler
the Doppler
effect.
Effect?
It's
Yeah, do that again. Yeah, excellent. So the Doppler Effect, you probably recognize it when you hear a fire engine or a police vehicle coming towards you. It sounds high pitched on its approach, and then it sort of its pitch tapers off and lowers as it leaves away. The reason is because as it's moving towards you, those sound waves are bunching up and they're coming at a higher frequency. As it's moving away, they go at a lower frequency.
More spread out.
More spread out, okay? So you've got the Doppler effect.
Right.
This is what allows William and George to work out where Sputnik 1 is in relation to them, right?
Okay.
Tracking its trajectory over the Earth as it's moving around. They're presented with the inverse problem by their boss, the deputy director of the APL. He asks them, is it possible to work out the location of a moving object on Earth when you have stationary satellites up in space? Long story short, the answer is yes. So in conjunction with the US Navy, right, the APL developed this thing called the transit system. Now, the transit system is 5 satellites up in space, and they're used to track these wonderful things. We like to call them submarines. And what's in these submarines, my friend? Polaris missiles. You got it.
Oh, bad news.
Nukes.
Bad
nukes,
news.
right? So it's used to develop to track nukes, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to jump forward a bit in history. We're going to jump to 1983. Now, this is when a Korean air flight, right? Korean air flight, this is not a joke. Korean air flight 007, right?
James Bond.
Yeah, well, they should have had James Bond on board because it maybe would have helped them avoid disaster.
No, he would have exploded with everyone else.
Well, yeah, it's spoilers. Yeah, all right. So they drift off into, restricted Soviet airspace and get blown up, right? And because of that, Ronald Reagan, his hand is forced, right? And he opens up access to the GPS network to civilians, right? So that, well, at least in very, narrow bands, okay? So in selected circumstances, so that tragedies like this with poor navigation as the cause won't happen anymore.
So
right?
basically everyone now has access to better navigation.
Well, not everyone, but it's not exclusively in the military domain, okay? So after 1985, by 1985, you have 10 of what are called Block 1 satellites, okay? These are the the first gen of what's going to be called the Navstar GPS global positioning system. Okay,
right.
All right. Then you move forward even further. Then you're having like the US military primarily being the main users of GPS, and they can control who has full unfettered access to it. Okay,
that's fun. How do I get that?
Strategically. Well, how do you get that? Well, you sign up to the US military, I guess.
I don't want to do that.
To the Air Force?
That's
No.
too hard.
You don't want to do that. So then in 1993, it finally achieves full operational capability. So the current GPS system has around 30 satellites up in the air, right? But at this time, there was 24, okay? And wherever you are on Earth, at least 4 of these satellites, you're visible to them.
That's crazy.
And through a process not called triangulation, but by trilateration, so it's about different converging circles, it works out where you are, okay?
I believe it.
Physics,
Science.
maths. You need to have at least 4 of these in your line of sight. It can work out where you are, and it gives you accurate time data of when, you are where you are in a certain real time.
But surely that's only if you have a GPS on you.
That's only if you have a GPS receiver, of course, yeah.
Okay, so don't worry. You're not being tracked all the time unless you have a GPS on you.
Well, most of us do these days, mate. Most of us do.
Drop the bomb on me.
Most
Drop the bomb.
In 1993, GPS gets its full operational capability. So you've got the full constellation of 24 satellites servicing the military. And then we fast forward again, May 2nd, 2000, selective availability. That was this policy that gives, certain access to some people, certain access to other people. That ends as a result of Clinton's earlier executive order in 1996. And, the world has full access to GPS.
It's very exciting.
It's incredibly important.
My question to you is, we understand now how it works.
Yeah.
Why is the world not flat?
I've really come to realize as well is if you need convincing as to why the Earth isn't flat, it's one of those things that if you have to ask, then you'll never know. Like there's nothing I can do to say that will convince you.
Yeah,
if
that's
you honestly
fair.
believe that the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
But I can tell you why GPS is important.
Tell me.
Because the most obvious answer is that it helps us track things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how did I know how to get home from wherever I am in the world? My GPS on my phone.
Yeah.
How do we know where animals are? How do we know where our friends and family are? How do we know where submarines are? How do we know where lots of different things are? So tracking things is a big important thing.
And it's better than a map because it's interactive, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and it's real time, and it's not just limited to getting directions. It allows you to control stuff. It's amazing. But also, is the thing that lots of people don't know and don't think about is that time is keeping accurate time is incredibly important and is achieved through GPS.
How?
So you've heard of atomic clocks, right? We don't have time to explain how atomic clocks work, but all you need to know is that they're incredibly accurate. And within every GPS satellite is an atomic clock, which gives an highly accurate timestamp of when the GPS signal was sent from that satellite and where that satellite was. So all these satellites communicate with receivers down on Earth with these highly accurate timestamps. And they allow us to have really accurate timekeeping capabilities for things like global economic markets, for knowing when you're going to service your crops. Or the timekeeping part is incredibly important.
I think it's undeniable that time is an important thing to humans, and if GPS is the thing that regulates time to make sure that it is accurate,
super important.
Pretty important.
Super, super important. Yeah. You just have to take our word for it. I take that on faith, yeah. But yeah, GPS, super interesting, super thankful, and also very complicated. I hope I did an okay job of explaining it.
I think you did okay. I think this was more of a science lesson than it was history, but I still learned a lot.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
It's fine. I knew that missiles were being tracked by Sputnik.
No, you've totally missed the point. Oh, well done. Triggered.
Too easy with you.
All right, so that's GPS. We've had Loch Ness. Now it's time for some
fast facts. Alrighty, here we go.
All right, let's do it.
May 1st to the May of the 7th.
It's May Day.
May 1st, Empire State Building is erected in 1931. Something interesting about the old Empire State Building, besides the fact that I've been there, is that it gets struck about 23 times a year. That's 23 strikes. That's a lot of outs in baseball.
I love that. You're like, apart from that, I've been there. Right below the plaque of how tall the Empire State is, visited by Harry Rutner circa 2013.
I put my hands in the cement. I wasn't meant to, and it was really sore, but my hands are there.
Wait, what? Like wet cement?
No, I didn't do that, but I just wanted to feel special.
Oh.
Let's go to May 2nd.
May 2nd. All right, here's a good one. Osama bin Laden is killed by US forces in 2011.
Good or bad? That's the question.
Oh.
Undeniably good.
Well,
it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that he was no longer around.
Yeah.
Sure.
May 3rd, 1937, Margaret Mitchell wins a Pulitzer Prize for Gone with the Wind.
Oh.
What a book. Of course, turned into a movie in 1939, and it won 10 Academy Awards.
Seriously?
So, Margaret did a great job of writing the script. Of course, a famous line from that.
Wait, so she was the script writer, or she was
No, she wrote the book. The book is the script. What do you mean?
Well,
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, frankly, Harry, I don't give a damn.
Oh, snap.
I don't give a damn.
All right, let's head straight to May 4th.
May 4th, 1979. Margaret Thatcher, another Margaret. She's sworn in as the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. All right, AKA the Iron Lady. That's her other nickname, due to her uncompromising politics and leadership style.
What a name, though. The Iron Lady. I wouldn't... No one messes with Iron Man. Why would you mess with the Iron Lady? Both superheroes in their own right. Not all heroes wear capes. So,
I love that line because it reminds me of The Incredibles,
Me too!
You shouldn't... Not capes.
Not capes. It's dangerous for superheroes.
Yeah, very bad.
May 5th, 1821. The famous Napoleon Bonaparte. He dies.
How did he die?
Death. Oh, I don't know everything. These are fast facts.
A faulty bagel. Yeah. A faulty bagel.
A faulty bagel.
Good one, Nash.
That's a great way to die. Way to be racial. All right, May 6th.
All right. So, May 6th, 1937. Oh, I know about this. The Hindenburg disaster. So, May 6th, 1937, the Hindenburg blew up, right? Now, the Hindenburg was filled with hydrogen. You know why it was filled with hydrogen?
Because people are stupid.
Well, no. Hydrogen actually,
It's combustible as hell.
Yeah, it's highly combustible. But the thing with hydrogen is it's cheap. Now, the Germans, they wanted to fill it with helium. They knew that helium was a safer choice.
100%.
But America had the largest supply of helium at the time, and they wouldn't sell it to them. So they had to look for something cheaper.
So because they didn't want to buy from the Americans,
or they couldn't.
Hindenburg happened.
They couldn't sell it.
Well, yeah, you know, details.
Details. Anyway, so yeah, it exploded. But the interesting thing about the Hindenburg is that nobody knows what actually started the fire that it caused that massive explosion. Nobody knows. It's a mystery. Yeah, there you go.
I think they actually wrote the lyrics to that song, "We Didn't Start the Fire." It was actually used in their court case to make sure the blame was put on the prosecutor instead of the defense. Another one of Harry's great puns. May 7th, nothing too much happens.
What? Nothing happens on May 7th?
There's things to report, but I just don't want to. I think that's the end of Fast Facts. There's always one day in our Fast Facts that we don't report on. This is that day.
All right. Okay, well.
That's just the way it's happening.
Sorry if you discovered cesium on May 7th. We forgot about you, but...
Too bad.
Yeah.
You'll have to wait till next year to be acknowledged. That, of course, brings us to the end of Fast Facts for another week. This week was huge, as per usual. It was, of course, our mighty 10th episode. Made it to number 10. Very exciting. A quarter of the year done.
Yeah, the big 1-0. Now, I feel accomplished. And Harry, you spoke about the Loch Ness Monster.
And you, of course, spoke about GPS.
Yes,
one
indeed.
Truthful, one not. Which one is which? You'll never know.
Well, no,
I said you'll never know.
They just listen.
I said you'll never know.
We'll tune in next week to find out more about what we do know from a time before you were born.